Hi, my name is Amanda DuBois, and I'm a practicing divorce attorney in Seattle, Washington. Clients come into my office all the time asking me certain questions, and I've noticed that they tend to ask the wrong questions. So I thought I'd take a few minutes and go through the questions that I'm frequently asked, and then let's reframe them and try to put them into perspective of the questions that should be asked. Because if you're watching this, you're probably somewhere along the line in a divorce process or thinking about getting a divorce, and you want to start reframing in your own mind how you want to be approaching this and not asking the wrong questions when the time comes. So the first question that people ask me is, how can I make him pay? When a woman comes into my office, oftentimes their whole goal is to get back at their husband because they're really mad at him. Like, he's going to pay for what he's done to me and my family. I don't want him to ever see the children. I want him to pay the price for what he's done. So in that case, the women they're focusing the wrong direction. So how can I make him pay is focusing all of your attention on him and his behavior. And if you're heading into a divorce, you need to focus on yourself, your children, your own well-being, and your financial future. So wasting energy on, it's perfectly understandable and acceptable to be angry at the situation, but that's something that you need to work through maybe with a therapist or your family and your friends. But in the divorce arena, you really need to focus on your own future and your well-being. You need to figure out what your assets are, you need to figure out what your debts are, you need to figure out how you're going to support yourself. Those are really hard things to have to face when you're in the huge emotional upheaval of a divorce process. But putting all of your attention on him and trying to find out how you're going to get back at him for what he's done to you is kind of a waste of your energy, and it takes the power away from you, because you need to stand in your own power now. You need to be as powerful and strong as you've ever been in your life in the most emotionally stressful and turmoil that you've ever been in. So don't make the mistake of putting all of your attention on trying to get back at him. Put the attention on how you're going to go forward with your future and take care of yourself. So another mistake that women ask me is, can he do that? Can he have a girlfriend? Can he take money out of the bank? Can he leave my family? Can he get away with that? And the question really isn't, can he get away with that? It's the same problem. It's, what am I going to do about it? He has a girlfriend, that sucks. It's sad and it's stressful and it's horrible and it's really hugely emotional for you. But the question isn't, can he do that, or can he take the kids and be around his girlfriend? Different courts and different jurisdictions are going to look at that differently. But rather than focusing on, can he do that and can he get away with that, again, you need to focus on, what am I going to do about it? How am I going to take care of myself and my children? So again, we're taking the energy away from out there on him and what he's doing and putting the energy on yourself and working on establishing your own personal power. So another mistake that a question that people ask that probably they shouldn't be asking is, can I keep the kids away from him? How can I keep my kids away from him? Well, probably you can't. Unless he's, domestic violence or a disabled alcoholic or a pedophile, you're probably not going to keep your kids away from him. And you probably shouldn't. So again, focusing on outwards, can I keep my kids away, when the focus should be actually this time on your children. So the question is, what's best for my children? And there is a whole bunch of information out there. There's a bunch of amazing books. There's articles written by scholars who've spent their lifetime studying the effect of divorce on children. And this is the time, even though it's scary and you're going through this horrible time in your life, this is the time to start educating yourself about what's best for children in a divorce. You've got to figure out, how much time should they be with their dad. If you've got little toddlers, they need more frequent time. The research will show that they need more short, frequent periods of time. If they're older, it's going to be a different amount of time. If they're teenagers, they might have some say-so about what they want to do and how they want to handle it. But rather than focusing on how you can keep your children away from this guy, you want to focus on your children's best interest, and that actually is the legal standard. And as you get into the process, you're going to have to learn about what is the legal standard and what is a child custody arrangement going to look like for your family based on the legal standard in your jurisdiction. So you've got a ton of homework to do. But rather than looking at, can he take my kids away, it's what is going to be best for my children and what can I do to best support my children. So the last question that people come and ask that seems to be focusing on the wrong aspect is, how can I stop this process? So we can kind of call that the ostrich approach. I just don't want to think about it. He's going to change his mind. He's going to come back. Something's going to happen, and this is all going to have turned into a bad nightmare. Well, maybe that's true, and that would be awesome if you love your husband and you want to rekindle your relationship and you want to reconcile. But if you're faced with a divorce situation, that's not a very helpful approach, to put your head in the sand like an ostrich and just pretend like it's not happening. Again, this is about you and it's about your kids if you have them. So this is about gathering your financial information. You need to know how to make a spreadsheet. You need to know how to respond. If somebody filed divorce against you and served you with papers, you need to jump into action and know what to do. You need to gather information. You need to educate yourself. You need to empower yourself. And sitting around saying, I want to stop the process, is not a very good use of your time. It certainly is tempting, and I'm sure, when you're home alone at night, that's exactly what you want to have happen. But you just don't really have time for that right now. You really have to start gathering information and reading information about what's best for your children, what's best for you. You need to get financially savvy. You need to make sure you can support your family. You need to make sure you can either get a job, or you have a good enough job, or you can get enough hours at your job so that you can be in a better financial position to weather through the storm that's coming, which is incredibly difficult. So rather than focusing on him, and rather than focusing on can he do this, and rather than focusing on can he take my kids away, and rather than focusing on I don't want to think about it, this is time for you to take care of yourself, put all of your attention on yourself, gather a team of people around you, figure out how you're going to approach this divorce, come up with kind of a vision for it when you're ready, and really get savvy and smart about your finances and your children so that you can get the very best possible settlement when the time comes. Because between now and the time that your divorce settles, you're going to have to become a huge expert in finances and 401ks and values of houses and pensions and asset distribution and what's fair and spousal maintenance or alimony, child support, child custody. You have a lot to do, and I know that you're probably completely freaked out and it's a lot to learn, but hopefully you can get the resources that you need to make your way through the process so that you can find your way to make the very best decisions for you and your family.